Welcome to How to Grow. In this video we're going to look at how to grow a giant pumpkin. I'm going to be perfectly honest with you, I'm not going to grow a giant pumpkin this year. You can see in the background there, that's the plant. It's actually just one plant inside that huge tunnel. But the problem is none of the fruit really, or the pumpkins, have set. Most of them are only about fist size, and that's kind of due to lack of sunshine, lack of heat. As I said in other videos, there's been so much rain, so it's not going to work. Now, regardless of that, I decided to make this video anyway. I should post it because all the techniques that I describe in this video actually really apply, and if you want to grow a giant pumpkin, this is all you have to do. What is it, mister? You tell him. Okay, so we have a giant pumpkin there, just to show you. It's really grown out the door. It's even gone all the way over to there. So it's kind of spread out. The tunnel itself is 5 meters long by 2 meters wide, or 2.5 meters wide. And it's just really crammed in there. You can see it's growing up the sides. I planted it way at the back there, which you'll see now in a minute in the video. I'll probably still get some kind of pumpkin, but something maybe, I don't know, 20 kilos, but not like a couple of 100 kilos, so it's very unfortunate. I've never seen anything like this, So you're going to need a tunnel. Go to hollandsgiants.com. What you do is you're going to get onto the guys who have basically grown these large pumpkins for over 25 years. They have selected, and every year they have been growing from the biggest pumpkins. So make sure to plant your seed not on the flat, but actually on also twice the depth down, and just bury it away, moisten it a bit, put it into your propagator, your electric propagator. Make sure that the germination temperature is set here. Now, once our hole is dug, we need to add some of this organic compost. You can see that there's still a lot of kind of strawy bits in there. So what I'm going to do, and this is very, very good, is I'm going to add some really fresh, sloppy chicken manure to it. So I'm going to mix that all up together, and that goes into the bottom of the hole. So it's now about 3 or 4 months later since I actually put up the polytunnel and put the mulch down, and already the soil is doing quite well because of it. Then I plunk the whole lot into the hole. And again, I want to mix it up really well. Now, next comes a wheelbarrow load of topsoil. And then I have this fish and bone meal. So I'm going to add a bit of this into it. And again, I'm going to mix it all in. So I'm going to need about 2 or 3 wheelbarrows of soil. Now I'm also taking out some of the stones as well. Now next comes the worm compost. It's probably the best fertilizer on the planet. There's worms in there as well, and also the eggs of the castings of the worms. So I'm going to grab some of these worms so that they don't get buried. Just put them under the mulch. Now next we're going to add some of this compost, and it's well broken down. So what I'm going to do next is I'm going to add some of this mycorrhizal fungi onto the roots. As many of you know by now, it encourages secondary roots of a fungi to grow on your pumpkins, and that means they get twice the size of rootstock. So I'm going to give them a good, nice big scoop into the hole. And I'm going to very carefully take my giant pumpkin out. Now it's important here that you pry loose very, very gently pry loose the roots. And you wouldn't want to leave it any longer as well, because otherwise it would become pot bound and that will set back your plant. And then very gently you place it into your hole, pull away the soil so that these kind of roots that I pried out can fall naturally and spread out. That's what we want. With vegetables it's like this, the more care you give them, the better they're going to grow. Check out my video on compost tea. I've also added a little bit of seaweed extract, and it's only a little touch of it, added with water. Now I've got these two 5-litre bottles that I've basically cut this way. You can also just have them whole and plonk them on, but the pumpkins are usually much bigger. Now make sure you never tread on your soil, that's a big no-no if you can avoid it at all possible. And this is just to protect it from slugs until it gets a little bit bigger. You want to add a bit of mulch in and around. Now when I earth it up, I take the mulch back off and put the mulch on top again. I'll see you in about maybe 2 months time, which will be only a second for you. Now it's the end of May, and the first thing I'm going to do is basically transplant these little ash trees that have grown, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to earth up this pumpkin. So now I've taken off the mulch, and the next step is just to take this soil here, take out all the big stones as well, and just to earth it up around the base, but around the sides as well. So you can see here, it's not too soon actually to do it. The roots are just about starting to come out, and they're about, I don't know, about 40 centimeters away from the base of the plant. So earthing up is really essential here. Now I've earthed up the plant, I've loosened up everything around it so the roots can really spread into it. I've also mulched everything so that the water won't evaporate. So the next step is going to be, as soon as the vines are coming out, I'm going to show you how to bury those, because if you bury them you get more nutrients into the plant. So we'll have a look at that next. So it's 21st of June. As you can see, the pumpkin has grown quite considerably. It's kind of coming this way. It's all the way up to here. I don't know if you can see it. And what I'm going to show you now next is how to loosen the soil, and we're going to add a few more ingredients as well. Yeah, so let's get to it. So you can see I've taken the vine slightly into a different direction, very gently. So if you have to it's kind of probably better to do this beforehand. But if you have to do it, just be very gentle so you don't damage the vine at all or stress it at all. And I'm just kind of loosening up the soil, taking out, of course, like I said, any of the stones or sticks or anything like that. Next comes some of this stuff. And again, I'm going to dig it in as well. So it's good to kind of just cover the whole ground and then just kind of loosely fork it in. Also a good idea to take off any kind of straw bits again as well, because they'll just rob kind of nitrogen from the ground. That's one thing we don't want. Now notice I'm kind of making an area quite wide because I want the roots again to spread out really evenly in all directions. And then all there is to it is kind of fixing it all in. Any kind of weeds as well. So I'm just starting to bury the actual vine itself. You can see I'm doing it where there's a, where there's another leaf actually coming out. In this case there's even a second vine coming up from the base as well. And that's basically where you really want to bury the vine itself. Now next what I'm going to do is I'm going to bury the secondary vine, and again I'm going to use bury it just there at the base of the leaves. And all I got to do is really easy and simple, is just place some soil on top of it and just bury it there. That'll encourage it to grow these roots and spread out nicely. Just put a bit of mulch back on top there. Yeah, and that's it. Now it's morning time, 8 o'clock in the morning, and you can see I have a male flower here with a bit of fleece on it, and that's just to stop any kind of insects from going in there and maybe bringing in some other pollen into the male flower. I've done the same with the female flower, which I'll show you now in a minute. Now you can recognize the male flowers by the fact that they have this very long stem. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this male flower now over to the female flower on the other plant, on the other pumpkin plant, in order to cross the two of them. So we're here now at the plant that's going to produce the actual female pumpkin, and you can see the flower is just opening there. Also I again covered it with fleece. Here's the male flower. All I got to do really is take off the foliage there, the flower part, to expose the, you see the pollen there, just expose the male part. There now. It's kind of difficult to do it one-handed. Now also what I wanted to show you guys is how to recognize the female flower, and that's quite easy by the fruit there at the bottom. I've cut off some of the leaves here because as the pumpkin, once it's fertilized, starts growing, it's going to need a lot more room. Now just very gently I'm going to touch each one of these little segments there. Now the next step is going to be in the video is going to be cutting off the growing shoots. Very soon I'm going to do that, and then just like feed like mad every week, once a week, with compost tea and different things like that. Now in the big tunnel you can see there's 4 plants there, pumpkin plants, and they're kind of not even as big as the just one down below. So it really goes to show that if you get the right seed and do all these kind of things, it really helps. Just to quickly show you, I got a male flower and I pollinated, from the actual big pumpkin plant down below, and I pollinated this one, and so it's growing away. So this one might come to something, but again only maybe 40 kilos is what I probably am going to get from it, which is alright, Now I hope you enjoyed the video. Also what I'm going to do, I'm not going to give up on that pumpkin yet. I put too much effort into growing the thing. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do an experiment, and that's what my next video is going to be about. So hope you enjoyed it. Please like up this video, and also if you have any questions, again, comment away. Thanks.